Yuriy Fedorenko, commander of the 4th Company of the 128th Battalion of the 112th Separate Brigade of the Territorial Defense of Kyiv, joins our broadcast. Hello. Kudos to Ukraine.
Glory to the heroes.
Yesterday evening, Telegram channels announced another piece of news. The city of Kupiansk was liberated by the armed forces of Ukraine. You are there now. Tell about the situation. A blue and yellow flag over the city?
The yellow flag has been flying over the city for 3 days now. In recent days, there have been long battles for the left bank part of the city. The armed forces of Ukraine fulfilled the task. I want to emphasize that the professionalism of the artillery and the professionalism of the infantry is beyond all praise. Including special forces, because the enemy was in the immediate vicinity. Among other things, shooting battles continued for a long time. The armed forces of Ukraine coped with the assigned tasks. Therefore, today we can say that Kupiansk is a Ukrainian city. It is worth noting that the enemy does not give up trying to regain influence, at least partially.
Note, after the broadcast, the left bank part of Kupiansk was released.
He receives a decent pushback and an instant reaction.
Do I understand that the enemy is not far away?
On the map you can see the distance to the state border. The concentration of Russian occupation troops is quite powerful.
We were all stunned when we once again saw what the Russians were leaving behind. In Izium, burial in the forest. How did you see the city after the liberation? How did people greet you?
I am talking about the reaction of people in the de-occupied territories. People have tears in their eyes and words of thanks. Because the conditions in which people were under occupation are not suitable for human habitation. Moreover, civilians were subjected to terror. In Izium, we saw a small part of the atrocities committed in the occupied territories. Unfortunately, I have to state the fact that this happens in all settlements. That is why I sincerely hope that the international community will weigh in and recognize the Russian Federation as a state sponsor of terrorism. I hope that additional sanctions will be implemented. Using the air, I want to say the main thing in my address to our international partners. Friends, we need your weapons today. And we need ammunition. Because the more weapons and ammunition there are, the more we will be able to work accurately, sectorally. This will make it possible to save people and make it possible not to destroy the infrastructure located in the occupied territory. Thanks to the support of international partners, this has already been done in concrete examples. Therefore, the task of Ukrainian politicians is to do everything possible so that the armed forces of Ukraine have a tool for fighting. The armed forces of Ukraine, you can believe me, will do everything necessary to do it well. And in order to return the occupied territories as soon as possible.
I would like you to explain in more detail what you mean.
You said that we need weapons that will allow us to preserve infrastructure and people, civilians. International partners provide us with high-precision weapons, with the help of which it is possible to deliver pinpoint blows to the enemy. Such strikes destroy only the occupiers and, at the same time, in no way lead to the destruction of the infrastructure. As a result of this jewelry work, there are no gunners, losses and casualties among the civilian population at all. Therefore, it is important to understand the benefits of the weapons samples that are transferred to us by international partners. These weapons save lives and help liberate occupied territories. By liberating the occupied territories, we are simply removing the effects that you are currently seeing in Izium. The sooner we take the territories, the less the occupiers will be able to kill Ukrainians.
Regarding Izium, it can be said that the enemy was fleeing from this city. In Kupiansk, they tried to hold back, because it is a hub station, it is a logistics center for them. In what condition did they leave the city?
The enemy leaves behind many mines, many traps. In this way, the Russians are trying to harm the civilian population and the personnel of the armed forces of Ukraine as much as possible. There are examples when a cat or a dog is locked in a closet. When the cleaning takes place, what does the Ukrainian military see? He enters the house and hears an animal whimpering in the closet. The reaction of any normal person is to release the animals, give them canned food, and feed them. But when the door opens, an explosion occurs. And this is one of the examples of insidious traps. Therefore, the staff is instructed on the subject of any traps that may be and to treat it with the utmost caution. Because the main resource we have for approaching victory as soon as possible is personnel, our people. We have an incredibly talented nation, talented military. I want to thank the Ukrainian nation on your broadcast. It provided a reliable and powerful rear, comprehensive support and an opportunity for the armed forces of Ukraine to perform their work in a high-quality manner. The only thing I want to say is, friends, the fighting continues. And I have a sincere request to the residents of the Kharkiv region and other regions where de-occupation is currently taking place. Friends, please do not take photos and publish them showing the movement of equipment or personnel of the armed forces of Ukraine. Let's wait for the official statements of the General Staff that this or that territory has been liberated. Only after that, these photos can be posted and those events covered. Let's treat this with understanding. Everything will be Ukraine.
Mr. Yuriy, one more short question. We have already said that the result of the counter-offensive was a forced lend-lease from the Russian Federation. Do we have trophies?
If we are talking about armored military equipment. I want Ukrainian society to understand the nature of our actions. It was definitely not an easy walk. The enemy held the main communication routes, the main hubs, and he did it with sufficient quality. But the actions of the armed forces of Ukraine were synchronized. In many places, the Russian occupying forces were caught by surprise. They were not ready for this. They fled in any transport that could be used to escape. They took equipment from the civilian population. And they left their armored vehicles, because they are not highly mobile. They were leaving artillery equipment, warehouses with ammunition. Therefore, indeed, the Ukrainian army replenished its stocks with the necessary ammunition and armored vehicles. In the shortest possible time, it will be repaired and sent towards the Russian occupiers. It will help us to de-occupy the territory.
I thank you for joining our broadcast. Thank you and your brothers for protecting us, for cleaning our lands from the invader. It was Yuriy Fedorenko, the commander of the 4th Company of the 128th Battalion, 112th Separate Brigade of the Territorial Defense of the city of Kyiv.